work well against what you want to do.
But the problem is, and this is definitely generalizing, but you know, Jin-hyeok have one game win, and I imagine they're not dominating scrims either. And they're changing their roster a lot. Do they know what they want to play in a blind pick comp? That's the part I'm not sure of. Sometimes you just kind of give over the reins and say, okay, we'll just follow the tier list. But the tier list can be a bit wonky when the meta's a bit up in flux, when you're not sure whether the trades you're making are to your advantage or not. So I think it's really hard to say follow your heart when the heart is probably pretty confused on the side of Jin-hyeok. For now, they're going to stick with tier list. Urgot answering the Akali so far. And the Lucian is a takeaway, given that Keen's most played this season has been the Lucian.
Yeah, it's the flex Lucian coming in for Jin-hyeok. Akali locked in. It's been Ucal that's been playing it the most. A couple of games in the mid lane so far as aiming, thinking about locking away his champion first up in the Ezreal. Will be pretty projected here as far as where the bottom lane's going to be going, as Lucian versus Ezreal looks to be the opportunity. But what's Spirit going to do is Dread just insta-locks the newly buffed Jarvan.
Now, this is a fun one. Actually a pretty surprising buff, pretty big buff. It doesn't look like it on paper, 5% more attack speed level 1. But because it doubles when your flag is out and because it's always there, your jungle clear is always way faster. And we know that means you're at the scuttle faster, or you're at your second camp and thus the third camp faster. And it can mess up jungle paths that people expect with the Jarvan. So cool to see. Has some fun synergies with auto attack champions. I'm thinking of Azir in the late game as the game goes on.
Certainly some opportunities here. But the Lissandra locked in as Jin-hyeok ban away the Zoe that Grace was so good at. Of course, Ucal has been a predominant Zoe player in his past.
And if someone dares to play Rumble against you, Jarvan can be a top laner situationally as well. So, unsure what this means on the side of the Afreeca Freecs, but it is just priorities. It's a cold choice. It's not influenced by the enemy champions. It's just, let's take Jarvan, because we rate the Jarvan. If you guys are joining in late, Spirit is listed as support. We don't know what it means. As usual, they've said nothing. There is no solo queue games to inspect. Keen's played enough for his placements, but apart from that, nothing really going on the side of the Afreeca Freecs.
Galio going to be banned away here as the Lee Sin is taken from Malrang. He can go to his Xin if he wants to. We could have the Demacian Prince off.
I think you do. I think you blind Xin here because definitely doesn't lose to Jarvan and doesn't show anything about your draft. It's also been where Malrang has looked most impressive without any match victories.
Yeah.
I think with the Afreeca Freecs, what Kingzone showed is they chose ridiculously strong laning champions. I'm thinking of Comet Varus. Can't really lose to any lane. Sometimes goes even, you don't want it to, but it's super ultra safe. And you just say, whatever shenanigans you're doing, we picked win lane, win game. You guys, you failed. It was bot lane Azir, couldn't do anything. We're too far ahead in gold. And you go from there. And so far, Jin-hyeok have done that. So I like what Jin-hyeok have done. We're getting the full explanation of Afreeca's comp. And seems like Syndra into LeBlanc. So into Lissandra is the choice. So the outrange choice here from Ucal.
And certainly...
And a support Jarvan.
Support Jarvan or support
It's
Syndra?
Support. It could be support Syndra.
Support Syndra top lane Jax?
Let's wait for the match. So Jax versus Urgot can be won by Jax. Yeah, I know, I'm there too. Everyone here is murmuring like, wait, what is this?
And I like that he faked it out by like hovering a couple of supports before being like, just kidding, Jax.
And Jin-hyeok, look at this, and let's think of their choices here. They could have gone more for lane, actually. Braum is decent in lane, but I wouldn't say he dominates lane.
He does with the Lucian.
It is a good duo, but it's a short-range duo, so you could have gone range support here. They didn't go ultra-safest, so we're going to work out what's going on. For the jungle matchup, Jax is a counterpick to Xin because of your ability to disregard Hail of Blades. I actually think it could be support Jarvan.
We might be support Jarvaning.
Good. This is great. Everything is fine.
This is, yep. This is a game. Think about your utility. 5% attack speed added on to your standard. 15 attack speed. Ezreal, it's like he's got one stack already. Yeah, I know, I don't know, dude. It's a weird one, but we've come to expect weird and wonderful things from the Afreeca Freecs, and they got a good jungle matchup for Dread into the Xin. Priced in to picking that champion is how it feels, and what the Jarvan's going to do, we are going to find out in a few moments. Where is he even going to go?
Is he just going to take Smite and say, well, I don't like you very much aiming, I'm double jumping?
Maybe. And I mean, Ezreal's pretty safe bottom lane, I guess, theoretically. But otherwise, this is begging some questions.
Well, we found Amy. That's all we have done. We have located him. He is, in fact, sitting in his normal seat.
He is still alive, yes.
That's all we've got, guys. We have no other information. We don't see the summoners till you guys do in the game. And Jin-hyeok says, well, I guess it kind of went weirder than expected after all.
Yeah. I got a prediction. I feel like they may have done a prisoner swap. And they swapped their supports to get aiming back.
Let's just let them cheer.
Yeah, let's find out.
All right, show us those summoners, Riot.
Yeah, here we go.
Hey, airy poke, baby. Oh, he's got the AP item. All right. All right, it is, in fact, support Jarvan. Now, you see this in solo queue once upon a time. Double bruiser Jarvan bot lanes have been a thing.
Jarvan Pantheon has been one of my favorite lanes of all time.
Do you remember what the most famous one was?
The Jarvan Lee Sin?
Jarvan Leona was the famous one. Picture of a Goose used to do this in, I believe it was Season 1. Could have been Season 2, but it was all about Leona, Jarvan having basically endless CC and ability to proc the Sunlight passive. It is Jarvan bot lane, but not in the carry role. That was Jarvan the carry role, Jarvan the support. You see this in solo queue from time to time. You get the poke with the flag. The flag now, of course, means that Ezreal has some more attack speed, but I don't really think that's so relevant.
Yeah.
It is one of those things that can surprise you because Jarvan's burst is pretty decent. It's lane presence for a melee support. He can poke through minions with Q, and he can also do some pretty decent base damages, so this can actually be pretty good for wonky level 2, level 3 engage, and he provides a lot of gank assist for Jax. Level 2 Jax and level 2 Jarvan in the bot lane is actually pretty insane dueling in CC. And Spirit walks up and confirms the bad news for his jungler.
Yep, but that means Dread does have full information of this, so not going to be walking over to an empty red pit or anything like that. Standard going down, and Spirit able to move back into this
Doesn't
lane.
this really feel like he was auto-filled?
Yes, absolutely.
It's
But
way better that he's playing a champion he's played in competitive, but in his auto-fill role.
did you see how much gold he's already got? I mean, he's keeping that thing on cooldown. Landing every single one. I think that's got an AP ratio as well.
It does.
So just nailing it.
It is the only thing in his kit with an AP ratio.
Yeah, I wonder when the adaptive damage will turn into AD. It may just never happen.
The LCK is the most competitive and serious league in the world.
Just to remind you guys.
I need to say it out loud sometimes to remember.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dread on half health as he goes back to his Grom, understands that he's not going to be able to get to this. Rift Scuttler might be double scuttled on the side of Malrang. As vertical jungling, not going to happen. And the Jax.
You give up level 2 on top side, you also give up level 2 on bot side. Urgot does win the trades earlier in the game. Kali can do some interesting things in this lane, and there was a lot of tweaks to champions over time. I wouldn't say they changed the Urgot-Akali matchup with 10 more mana on the Q for Urgot and no changes to Akali.
Oh, double value.
I mean, actually, it's very frustrating because you never want to actually opt into the knock-up and passive. So every time the flag's on the Rift, kind of like the feathers from Isaiah, so you are at least going to think about that. But definitely, it's only all-in trades for the Jarvan. I guess he really is a lot like Leona, if you think about it.
Yeah.
With more lane presence, OP.
More lane presence?
Than a Leona?
I guess so. I mean,
can
Leona
poke from
has
further away.
basically no lane presence. And you do have 2 buttons to poke with. You're right. You're right.
It's poke versus no poke, but yes, you could argue Leona's all-in is a bit stronger.
Yeah. We'll see what Spirit can actually make work. Has taken the slightly nerfed Ignite like you're talking about. Nova's on the exhaust hype train on the bottom side with Guardian.
Mid lane in the champion select is what was actually won by Afreeca. It's a very winning matchup for Syndra, unless jungle assistance changes it. So if Ucal's flash is down, then I think there's a lot of cross-map problems for the side of Afreeca Freecs. But right now, resting state, I like how Spirit is approaching this lane. Yes, it's just zero-sum of throw out your E and get some gold, but keep the E on the ground a lot, and then when Jax comes, if the ward doesn't spot him, you're more likely to hit the flag and drag, and thus the Jax with the follow-up. So Root is actually taking a bit of harassment here, and we're just waiting for the junglers to actually path bot side.
It looks like a Sona lane. He's dropping so many flags, it looks like that level of frustrating, you know? Maybe Fiddlesticks. I mean, Fiddlesticks used to be a jungler, then became a support. Why can't Jarvan? Malrang coming on over. No vision actually available here, as you can see Dread moving on over to this ward.
Knows what to expect, though. With the sweeper seeing a ward, he knows Dread's likely to be here. Here we go.
Audacious charge, and Dread just going to wander on over. The leap strike could have been used to get back onto Keen, but doesn't need to.
No one actually backed down from the Hail of Blades meta. No phase rush Xin-Zhao in this game.
Yeah, not happening. I like it from Malrang. Just accepting that he's going to have a rougher time once the counter-strike can actually effectively counter what he can offer.
I'm just seeing a future game with Emax, Jarvan support, and a Kog'Maw talking about attack speed synergies, but
yeah, there we
I
go.
can't really sell that to you this game because Ezreal is very different with his attack speed. It's much more about keeping his passive up than the percentages being as important.
You don't need to worry. I already tried to sell it earlier on.
Yeah, I wasn't buying it, Atlas.
Yeah. We needed the music. If we had the music from before,
what music would you like? Is it the
it.
Yakety Sax music again? Look at that back interrupt. AP Jarvan support, pretty good at that.
Look at that flash. Ucal, pretty good at that as well. And that's not what you want to be good at in the early game, because now he's not going to be able to bully the lane like he was able to. Has taken the cleanse, of course, to get out of the frozen tomb. That means things can be a worry. His aiming wants this turret plate.
You wouldn't have got the turret plate as safely without the attack speed, and does give an escape for the Jarvan, so I'm going to give Jarvan actually pretty good score on racing down turret plates in a 2v0 scenario.
Yep.
He needs all the points he can get. He started very small in terms of the support tier list.
Yeah, I'm going to say that we weren't expecting it to necessarily be a high-quality pick, but maybe. I mean, remember, Spirit started Lulu jungle and won, so crazy things have happened.
But into Urgot, you do see the future point where Jarvan EQs in and instantly gives a Fear Beyond Death with his 50 HP in a team fight.
Yeah.
So, team fight-wise, he does one thing. He presses EQR and everything else just falls apart. Right now, CS for CS. Spirit hasn't gone for... He's upgraded his GB10.
It's Frostfang.
Did you really think you needed to... that's the part where I'm not sure on, because his cooldown is actually pretty long on his E, and it's his only ability to actually poke, so I actually think Frostfang was wrong.
He needs wards. So he has to upgrade something.
I know, but maybe...
What's he going to do?
Get a Ruby Crystal and bring in the Jax?
Maybe. I don't know, man. I think he sort of had to do it.
I don't think it helps his gold generation to come faster.
Oh, definitely not. Doesn't help the gold generation, but will help his team to be able to see a little bit more. Maybe that's the downfall of the support Jarvan.
We're all learning here.
Yep.
Dread is just power farmed, which was the last thing I expected when he had Jarvan bot lane. And is on Jax.
But he's been able to at least power farm. Stolen away a camp or two from Malrang and has kept parity. Will get his second red buff. Malrang not actually going into the jungle to try and steal that one away. You can see very respectful build coming out of Grace here. He's gone for the Merc Treads as a rush against Ucal.
Game is a bit of a wash as it goes on. If you ask me which comp I prefer at a 40-minute no-rush scenario, it's probably Afreeca by a little bit, just because Ezreal can stay safe, and I worry about Lucian with Akali, Jax, Jarvan support threat.
Yep. Well, Nova, not going to be able to find anything. They're just getting some control wards here on the top side of the map, understanding that Keen is certainly a win condition for the Afreeca Freecs, so Jin-hyeok want to get vision around him, make sure that that lane can be as easy for Lindarang as it possibly can be. And in theory, on the Urgot, who does have the Unsealed Spellbook, so can actually go to this Ignite that he has now in lane, can demand some respect, but needs to land some of these corrosive charges.
Afreeca's big problem is that if Jin-hyeok can make this about Baron, it's pretty tricky to face check it. All these people are kind of surprisingly squishy. There's no real great face checkers when you have a support Jarvan. Who's got a cloth armor, so I guess not building into any more offensive stats.
Keen can theoretically check it with the Shroud available.
I guess so.
Somewhat.
Keen himself is playing with fire a little bit, but we know that the evacuation has happened from Jin-hyeok. Afreeca pull back, and I gotta say, in spite of the pick being pretty crazy, the early game has been a very extended feeling out process between Afreeca and Jin-hyeok.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like Jin-hyeok are probably just as surprised as we are at the pick and are struggling to work out exactly what to make of it. As the blue buff not going to be taken just yet. Down to 1 health. There we go. Grace doesn't get the Q over. Gets the claw in there, though, and actually goes for this engage. Not entirely sure whether that was the best move. Basically out of mana there as well, as the QE is available for Spirit if he wants to go back. Not going to do so as Dread dives forward. Fantastic stealth ult comes in from Grace, but I don't think it's enough as aiming gets the last auto. First blood goes down as it's, in fact, the Ignite tick that gets it. So Spirit grabs first blood and gets an assist on the second.
Really peculiar decision to go in for Grace. His members weren't actually that close. If they were closer to collapse, you could understand it. Awkwardly, Lindarang had already changed. He actually had Ignite. He might have TP'd already. Until that's available, there was nothing to Ignite anyway, so he couldn't cycle it to make it to lane. So because of all of that, it's just 2 kills and a Drake kind of handed over to Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, really, really strange.
So if you look at the minimap here, Xin-Zhao's so far away, and bot lane rotates second. Again, unsure if TP was available, but it couldn't be used, that's for sure. I think Urgot's trying to fish to ignite the Akali so he can TP himself, but it's too little, too late. Ends up being egg on the face all over Jin-hyeok.
Exactly, and Keen picks up the kill, gets an assist there as well, and we're checking out Spirit. Of course, he's excited because he always is.
Says Gaja, which means let's go.
Yep.
That's the rallying call there. Understandable coming through from Spirit. Went better than expected. What the? Okay, Spirit, this is no. No.
The scientist
No,
has gone.
no,
This
no,
is
no.
when science has gone too far, Papa Smithy.
Now, here's the reason why it's not the worst pickup.
Okay.
Because what did we say would
That's a
happen
big
in a
ratio.
team fight? He would dive in,
And
start a fight, and die and give a fear beyond death. Now, he dives in and Zonya's the fear beyond death. He's still useless, but he doesn't actually open up the enemy's ultimate. So actually, of the AP items, probably the best one.
And he doesn't want to keep buying stopwatches for every skirmish.
Well, you can't, right? You can't rebuy the stopwatch afterwards. You have perfect timing, you can buy another stopwatch, but there's no unlimited stopwatch, so
He just needs to buy Zonya's, and he does so, I guess. Seeker's Arm Guard comes in, gets some extra scaling armor.
guys, I'm really trying very hard to provide something resembling level-headed analysis of support Zonya's. Jarvan.
Well, aiming, gets out of the way, and Spirit, look at that. That's his full combo. He dropped a flag.
Well, if he Qs in, he might die, Atlas.
No, but it's AP. Q doesn't do damage.
It shreds.
It's a bit of armor shred, but aiming was already running away, so it doesn't matter. Spirit's not about the
I'm
physical
not sure
damage.
there was a way better item to go for than Zonya's. Like, you could build health, I guess, but you would still kind of die because it's too slow.
Yeah, it's like tankiness stats, right?
At least the stasis will be used every fight to not allow for a free AoE ultimate from the Urgot.
Maybe finishing the aspect of the Watcher would have been better than an Arm Guard. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't
maybe
think
not.
that's ever the right choice. I can't name one champion rushing aspect of the Watcher is right on.
Okay.
It's kind of a
I don't know, man.
sucky upgrade for 900 gold.
True.
I think Rusty, former LPL caster, current OPL caster, just really wanted to see some like AP Lucian mid lane or AP Lucian support.
Yeah.
Why not, right?
It may as well get ardently blazed. If this is okay, may as well just ardently blaze your way to a victory. If you can Demacianly standard your way to it. Nothing standard about it, though. Guess that's the beautiful irony about Spirit's new pick.
And it might still work. They could still win this game.
Yeah.
Now, the
I like
jury is out on if it's in spite of or because of the AP Jarvan. We'll learn. I'll let you decide. You're the judge on that one, Atlas.
Okay, no worries.
Speaking of judge,
They're
Jax
1,000
is
gold.
topside.
They're 1,000 gold and 2 kills in the lead, and a dragon. I mean, everything's pointing towards
that was
an Afreeca win
kinda
here.
because of Grace, if we're being honest. He went in and kind of handed over 2 kills and a Drake. Here's
Handicap.
Spirit coming
Secured.
back for the AP Jarvan lane presence.
Yep, let's do it. Get that standard on cooldown as, all right, ultimate comes in, aiming, is going to survive for the moment. There's the flag and drag. Oh, just the tip of the Fisher means that the flash has to be used, and Malrang not going to get in there, but so many more of these turret plates are going to go down.
Attacking the Jarvan lane. Gold star to the side of Jin-hyeok. Something he could have done a lot earlier. He doesn't provide basically anything. In a 2v2, unless his jungle is there an advantage. The plates come down. 4 plates rolled down. Let's see if there's any answering plates across the map. That's 4 bot lane. 6 altogether, including top. Urgot on top of the top side, but only a single plate I can spy so far.
Well, that's a lot of AoE damage there with the flag that just dropped, but this tower is about to follow suit. And top side of the map,
Boom!
They just want to get all of these turrets, all of these turret plates. And going for the dive, actually, is now Lindarang does have that flash on cooldown. Fear Beyond Death comes in, and see you later. That's a 1-for-1 trade, and certainly one that you'll take, but Shelly is still there, and they get a lot of plates, so I'm not entirely sure.
She took a bit of damage, though, so it's not going to actually be all of the plates. And some damage, because, of course, the charge came around 1340. Peculiar across-map play, but Lindarang getting the kill there is actually pretty big in the scenario, especially because Syndra rotated and then kind of went back mid. There was nothing there. After all, Keen wants the solo gold on the turret, and this game, Weird and Wonderful, was confirmed. Gold lead right now with the turret going down. It's going to be 1,000 gold still to the tune on Afreeca.
An adaptive helm is completed by Urgot, but let's have a look at this one yet again. Aiming, lucky to survive. But what's important is the fact that this turret can then go down.
And Spirit gets to hold on to his stasis. We'll need that for later. But watch the replay top side. 2 squishies here, so actually a really good job. If you're going to stay, and the minion wave was there, and he wants to slow down the turret plates, you understand why to stay. The fact that after all that, you even got some damage onto Shelly did make that overall an uneven map trade, given the scenario Jin-hyeok found themselves in.
Yeah, true. I liked it. Keen does have the Gunblade completed now, though. Blasting Wand also in hand. 2-0-0 for the Akali. Anyone who doesn't have magic resist is going to die very, very swiftly. For this Akali, who's now level 11, Jin-hyeok going to grab their first Drake of the game. It is an Ocean Drake at this stage, which is not necessarily ideal. Next one's going to be a Cloud, though. So we're having a bit of a rough time when it comes to high-value Drakes. That's okay.
Still, we should revisit our initial analysis of overall just eking out Afreeca favorite late game. It's not a big one. It definitely is going to be about execution, and with picks that we haven't seen at the highest level, the execution's probably going to be the most unpredictable.
Yeah.
It's really close. Again, I could understand a Jin-hyeok argument. I'm definitely not dying on the flag of either side, and that's a weird Jin-hyeok reference and a weird Jarvan reference as well. But given it all, the game being even doesn't fully suit either team. It's going to be a lot about vision leads, and right now the vision pretty even on both sides too, so it kind of means the mid-game execution probably going to carry a game one way or the other.
And how good is Spirit's vision control and all that sort of stuff as well? I mean, these are questions that need to be asked because this guy has not played in the support position unless you count his time in the funnel.
And it's not Season 2 anymore, or Season 4. You can't just put wards everywhere.
I guess he was
wards on a
playing
budget
then, though.
Yes.
So he was basically a ward bot for a large portion of his career.
He was on the Samsung team that didn't have Mata, so they approached vision a little bit differently.
Yeah, that's true.
It was only about defensive vision on Samsung Blue, given their turtle status.
He's been playing against Mata for a long time, of course. Went over to China at the same time, then came home at about the same time as well. Of course, spending some time in Europe. Same time, he was a bit of a jet setter, was our Spirit. Leaving China earlier.
One of the initial class, I guess, initial class strong, but the big class of 2015 that went over to the LPL from the LCK. Initial class probably be Insect Zero, those names.
Insect Zero are the ones.
And then from there, went over to the ELCS as well at the time, so like you say, has done some trailblazing. Now role swapping, at least for this game.
It seems to be for every game.
True. He's hopping around. How about some top lane?
Yeah, I think he needs to. As speaking of top lane, Aiming and Spirit are going to discover the bottom lane of Jin-hyeok. And in order to go completely even in this lane, as an Ezreal versus Braum Lucian lane, I'm feeling pretty good about this Jarvan support. It has a fiendish codex, of course. And very close to that Zhonya.
And if you're Afreeca and you tried your weird stuff and kind of got blown out by Kingzone, you're probably overall feeling pretty good.
Jin-hyeok, you're probably not, as Grace, their star player in their last series, is getting bullied a little bit.
My big takeaway was pick a draft that does what it says on the tin reliably and just execute on that. And don't necessarily go for combo ults like Gen-G tried. Just go for kind of winning lanes. And overall, I think Jin-hyeok kind of got the draft they were looking for, but they haven't been able to wield it very impressively in the early game. They haven't made this mismatched champions shadowing Malrang, who's deciding where the enemy team is, or turrets that are going down. There's still relative parity around the map, and that means that maybe things will slide into normalcy come late game for the side of Afreeca, and that's more than they ever got from Kingzone Dragon X.
Yeah, I agree. So that flag actually helping as far as clearing up minion waves. Trying to work out exactly why this Jarvan is good, because it seems to be working, so we actually legitimately have to. He's going to go home now. Does have, I believe, no, not enough money to complete the Zhonya's just yet. Just grabs a couple more control wards. Continues his journey. Close to a double stun there as Nova used the Unbreakable. Therefore going to take negligible damage from this Syndra. Feeling a little bit anemic, would have liked a couple of those kills, but has been farming very, very nicely. So 600 gold is going to be the bounty, 500 only for Keen, which is very strange.
Really slow overall. Early game means that 2-item Ezreal comes mid lane, and usually a good news report.
Yeah.
For the Ezreal. Jin-hyeok only really have hard engage when it comes to dealing with Ezreal poke. So because of that, we watch mid lane with great interest.
Jin-hyeok hanging around this area as well as Keen's making the rotation up, but Grace trying to get on over. Claw of Doom, not going to be so dooming at this point. So the Ucal trying to slink her way towards some sort of flank, get some decent vision here to allow for these rotations, but control wards are being put down across the map here for Jin-hyeok, looking for their opportunity to start a fight here in the mid lane. And the flanking potential of Alessandra, we know, is so strong. Grace now moving in. Everyone feeling a bit frisky in the mid lane.
We see an all-in attempt. Here it is.
Yeah, there it is. Immediately destroyed is the job, and you knew that that was what's going to happen. And another goes down as the Fear Beyond Death felt pretty free, but on a target that we weren't necessarily expecting. And Jin-hyeok just easily get 2 picks.
And they just can gap close so easy. It's not a true ARAM when you don't have your flanks warded. They walk into melee range, look over the wall, instant engage into 2 kills. Stasis can't be popped, so Zhonya's come soon, but first death is confirmed. They back away from there. The Cloud Drake goes the way of Jin-hyeok. All moments like that, they should be continuing with their strong engage to make the plays happen.
Yeah, just need to have better vision control here for the Afreeca Freecs. Spirit had no opportunity to use anything. And that white bar that we talk about of the CC never let up on both of those champions.
Coach Han finally goes closer to the correct posture. He's still back in the medium. He knows the game is still there to be won. I like the way that Jin-hyeok played it. They could see the enemy champions cutting downwards towards the choke they were in. They didn't have any vision, but they knew control ward would give a left click to somebody. They get it there with the R button onto Spirit. Dies instantly. Well engineered by Jin-hyeok Greenwings.
Yeah, I thought so. Well, Spirit's still unable to get his Zhonyas. Don't know whether that is what the completion is going to be. But now just trying to get some vision down, and they do make up for it. But getting bottom side vision after the dragon was just taken means that in 4 minutes time, if the control wards haven't been cleared, then yes, they will have some vision control, but may not necessarily be the priority. Still, they've got a line of control wards leading up the river topside.
So hard to ward both your flanks for this ARAM style poke play from Afreeca, so feels like this is almost impossible to set up how you want. I think Jin-hyeok agree. They get down control to the flanks, and now Afreeca kind of at the whim of the next Jin-hyeok engage.
Well, now at least Spirit knows that he's not going to get seen, so can't get targeted by the...
Okay,
Lindarang, yeah, in a whole host of trouble, down to almost about half health. The Spirit dives forward, finally uses the stopwatch now as root. Might be the focus, jumped on there by Dread in the backline as the ultimate takes down Nova as an afterthought, and Spirit's still flagging a Dragon. Grace coming on forward. Dread uses his stopwatch, but now it feels like we've evened out the fight as Ucal flashes on out after the cleanse. And he's going to survive, and Grace may have bitten off more than he can chew, but it was a damn good effort to go for it.
If he had Root and also Malrang backing him up, he did so much damage in an AoE. He even had his ultimate after the first burst, but couldn't quite get multiple frozen thralls going through. And that might have been a communication issue on the end from Jin-hyeok. Afreeca, it looked like things were going to fall apart, but finally they say no. Let's just use our buttons offensively rather than waiting for Jin-hyeok to make their pick. They get Lindarang super low. He can't actually pull off the Urgot ult because the stasis is available. First kill comes down, but watch how close on the end that Grace is to just winning this game straight up. Keen gets into the back line. You think it's all over, but Grace flies over. And this is almost Frozen Thrall after Frozen Thrall into teamfight victory. But Root moves down. Malrang's actually on the wrong side of the wall around Raptors. So his whole re-engage seems like communication is off between Grace and the rest of his team, and the end result is just another kill dripped to Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, so Afreeca winning on kills, but so far, I mean, the gold is 2,000, and if you've got an easier to execute composition, you're not going to be worried about 2,000 gold at all. You understand what Jin-hyeok are trying to do, and they've already demonstrated that one to us. Just need to make sure that Lindarang doesn't put his face into the enemy, because things are getting more and more difficult. Keen now has a Seeker's Arm Guard, moving towards his first 3 items, and Gunblade extraordinarily expensive, and Void Staff a similar thing, so Ucal is very accelerated.
And Atlas, will these 4 kills allow the side lane and top lane Ucal Urgot matchup from going the way against Keen it did at Worlds? Because at Worlds, he hit 6 items as the Urgot hit 6 items, and he never had kill pressure in a side lane on the matchup. Now we're seeing him with a gold advantage. 40 CS and a couple of kills will definitely do that. Is there going to be break-even points where actually this Urgot is killable? pre-adaptive Helm? The answer might be yes.
All right, now we've got the Zhonyas completed for the support Jarvan. As Blade of the Ruin King's done for aiming, he may not actually be going double tier on this Ezreal this time around.
Can delay
surprising.
Can delay it and just get the Lost Chapter next and
yeah,
go for power. When it's the 8 stack per ability, you charge it up pretty damn fast.
Unfortunately, I mean, normally you'd see it after the Muramana transformation, just grab it on your next back.
Not every time, but it is more common than not. I agree with you, Atlas.
And it's been transformed for a little while, so wondering whether aiming is going to step away from that particular build that we saw some players experimenting with earlier on.
There is a lot of self-peel needed when Urgot, Xin, Lissandra, Braum rush in, so I don't mind it. For the lifesteal also to continue with what is still an ARAM from Afreeca Freecs.
Yep. Jin-hyeok didn't quite know that though, because a lot of people standing outside of vision. That flag going down is a bit of a giveaway. Do
Jin-hyeok see Akali and engage? It's not that easy. They don't have screen-wide engage, no Ornhorn to blow.
At least the claw is there, and that does need to be respected. They're going to at least get dashes out of that one. Getting themselves lane priority in mid means that they can get through here, clean out vision, and this is what we were talking about. Cloud Drake is now live, and Jin-hyeok have been doing the right thing as far as getting vision at the right times in order to lock down these dragons that they do have a bit of a monopoly on at the moment.
Back away from the Cloud Drake post-haste, back to the ARAM.
Yep. Ucal diving on in, trying to get the poke that we can get onto this Jin-hyeok squad.
Kali in the side lane again, no adaptive Helm, no more magic resist, so not sure what lane assignment you best want as Jin-hyeok. Ideally outnumber, of course, is what you'd prefer.
Yep.
Keen could be a side lane win condition. No experience lead, both level 15.
But he's got
on the top
lot of extra farm.
Yeah.
It's looking a little bit rough here for Lindarang.
Freaking go mid, you have to respond to the Ezreal. Akali goes bot lane first, and she just gets that extra 8 CS every time the Urgot waddles between mid and bot lane.
Yep. Well, speaking of which, he is back here underneath this turret. Freecs unable to get any reasonable damage there, but buying space for this Kali to continue pushing forward and also gain themselves some vision around this Cloud Drake.
They lead with their face. It's definitely a squishy center to Afreeca. Jin-hyeok taking their time.
Circle of Frost is down. Winter's Bite is not going to find the target now as they're looking to try and reset this dragon, but it's picked up by Jin-hyeok. And as it is, the Afreeca Freecs move on over. They do not want to give this away for free. They want to even things out.
They don't want to fight front to back either because they're such a squishy front line.
Also, they have poke options, so getting the Ezreal a little bit further forward, allowing them to take a little bit more damage, and the 50-50 is going to be won by Afreeca Freecs. Cloud Drake going their way. Dread with the good smite button up against Malrang.
So tentative, though, from Jin-hyeok. Again, it's not the easiest linear engage, but they don't pull the trigger, and then it just ends up being a 50-50 that goes the way of Afreeca that extends there. Admittedly, on a meager lead at this point. It's about 900 gold to the side of Afreeca, and maybe the game will just be decided by item breakpoints between Akali and Urgot, or just a straight-up mistake. There is still the chance that someone is picked, the Baron comes down, and the foreshadowing of the first 30 minutes doesn't mean much. Raze picks up the side lane farm as Lindarang says, I would like my TP back.
Yes, and he is going to get it. Keen fighting around as Root actually turns up. Just straight up igniting an Akali actually feels pretty good if you then go into a fight, because she doesn't have that added healing from everything that she does ever. That feels bad though, looking at your ignite doing absolutely nothing as she heals all of her life back up with 1 Q. That's gone, I believe, in the next patch. That's 9.3. We're looking a little bit too far forward.
Yeah, 9.2 today, same as live. We've been eerily similar to live, which is a pretty cool place to be. We've definitely had times last year. Remember, we had 8.1 for a month, I think, because of awkward timings. So we had the snooze fest meta for as long as possible.
We had it, a few of those patches went for a ridiculously long time for a bunch of different reasons. I remember last year.
Don't know if we're encouraging people to copy all the champions being played on competitive in 9.2. I know I will be sticking away from solo queue for tonight, as Spirit no doubt has inspired plenty of people.
Yeah, or we ban the Jarvan.
Here's a question.
Or you pick Jarvan and play him in the jungle and people are like, oh, but he's a support.
After the game, when we go to pro builds, who's the first pro around the world who's playing support Jarvan in solo queue after this game?
Yeah.
Who do you think it is?
Who is it?
Yeah, who's just playing some support Jarvan?
Oh, I don't know. Who is the other? Maybe Lehenza's already played it and that's why Spirit's playing.
True. Tucson I could see giving it a go.
Yeah, he'd give it a whirl.
There's always someone who picks up these champions quickly. Everyone's playing Redemption Olaf, for example.
Yep.
Tarzan showed that.
Tarzan's been finding a little bit more success than
Excuse
Spirit
me,
has in the support
Afreeca
role,
Freecs
though.
are ahead in gold.
That they are.
With support
That they
AP
are.
Jarvan, who rushed his on.
That being said, I mean, I feel like you need to judge based on your history and, you know, whether your decisions have been really good ones. And I guess, I mean, if you're talking about innovation, Spirit's always been pretty good at that. So maybe that was actually an argument for.
Well, we're rushing into mid lane. The ARAM is now crested 10 minutes.
Yep. And this turret is actually taking some damage now. Keeping land there from Aiming, who's decent position at the moment. The claw flies forward, and Aiming goes back.
This game could go really, really long, because if Urgot actually can't be overpowered by item leads, mid lane takes forever to take down because Braum throws up the E every time Ezreal tries to poke someone out. Ooh, Ezreal really wants to desperately get his ult before Unbreakable is back. Yes, that's a relevant discussion.
Yep.
That's the kind of game we're in, guys.
He is landing Qs.
He desperately wants to ult them before Unbreakable eats it.
Aiming's got to actually just like hit a turret like a couple of times while there are minions around. As this could be exciting. Oh, look at that! The steal on the Raptor camp.
They can't play 3 lanes, in case you guys are wondering why it's not 1-3-1. Syndra's side lane against Lissandra's actually pretty weak. That's the awkward thing here, where Braum just slows down every push comically forever. Finally, though, they're walking up. Could it be?
Yeah, Dread just grabs it. The Empower does it. Now Aiming has to get the hell out of there. Uses all of his buttons, but is going to be safe as Grace. Now just going to get jumped on. Look at that Jarvan support burst damage that comes in. Secures the kill. Onto the Lissandra. Does the Ezreal. And I guess, in theory, in that particular fight, Spirit did exactly what he wanted to do.
Selfo there was so awkward because no one could follow up. Malrang, Lindarang, they both have flashes, don't do anything. Now they might fight.
Yeah, looking for a few bits of poke on the outside as Keen dives forward. Root immediately going to get stunned. There's the flash coming in from Spirit, showing the Jarvan mechanics, and instantly to leave the rift. The double knock-up worked beautifully for the former jungler. Former still jungler, not entirely sure, but fantastic play coming out from the Afreeca Freecs.
It's all up in the air. They want to chase for a further kill as well to guarantee a Baron. EQ flash from Spirit, a jungle mechanic, but an oldie but a goodie. Works out in that case. They back away. They don't get a Baron from. They don't blow open the game, but at least some good moments from this crazy draft on the side of Afreeca Freecs. We watched the replay to understand this. Remember, this is 4v5 after Grace kind of just died in the front line. Watch the Jarvan, EQ, and flash. That's what gets the Lucian. That's the jungle mechanics. That's nicely done by Spirit.
Yeah, picks up the knock-up before the flash as well onto Nova, which is why the double actually comes in really, really clean. From this support Jarvan, who's got himself some Merc Treads as well as his Zonyas and a Negatron Cloak. He's trying to get tanky against some of this magic damage that's going to be inherently hitting him in these fights. It feels like Grace has often been the target here for Spirit. So he's going to continue wandering around. Man, I don't know how, but it's working. There's a 105 Ezreal that was laning with a Jarvan for the majority of this game. And that was not something that I was expecting to talk about, even though I was expecting to talk about some weird stuff in this series.
Talking about the build from Spirit, kind of making people at home understand, because it's a very unconventional pick, of course.
Oh,
there isn't that much different between support Jarvan and support Annie in a game like this, because consider what Jarvan is doing. He's engaging, and then he's building items that stop him dying. He doesn't scale on any stat. He's just going for magic resist, because he could buy a lot of it for 720 gold.
Yeah.
When he went back. The stasis is to stop Urgot from just going for an AoE fear and ruining the team fight. And he's saying, I go in, do a decent amount of damage, and after that, the enemy team is AoE slowed. If they have no flash, they're stuck in the pit. And also, I did a bit of damage. That's really all you can do. And I'm leaving a flag to have some attack speed. So there is synergies there. It is very much a bit of a head-scratcher because there were so many other conventional choices. But I at least believe he's playing and building towards something rather than just stacking for a non-existent AP ratio.
Yeah, and having a attack speed steroid for your team, 30% for yourself, 15 for them at rank 1, remember, it goes up to 25. I mean, that is a big deal when you've got a Jax and an Ezreal on your team. Even Keen's okay with having a bit of extra attack speed. This could be a weird fight. To see whether anyone is going to get discovered in that brush, and they're not going to.
TP ward, there's one behind the Baron, but it's not being started. Not sure where Lissandra He's going to TP in. He's going for no TP yet, but the Baron play certainly would open one up. Afreeca surprised because they don't know where Urgot and Lissandra are.
Yeah, speaking of Urgot Lissandra, they are going to make their way towards the top and the bottom. 1-3-1 going to be enacted here by Jin-hyeok by the looks of things, and you saw Spirit actually get rid of a really nice flank ward that Jin-hyeok did have down. That is actually very, very important, given the fact that if the Baron had been started in response to this split that had come in from Jin-hyeok, could have been a really great place to attack them from. Not going to be the case, however.
I think this game, honestly, at this point is just when do Afreeca Freecs start the Baron, and is it the right time? Because they can't push down turrets. They can't. The Braum and the rest of the champions on Jin-hyeok delay for too long. They can't 1-3-1 because Syndra can't hit a side lane. Kali doesn't seem to have kill threat. So it's really about Baron now. Speaking of Baron,
Spirit going to have to get the hell out of there. Not able to use the Zhonyas in time. Culling used just for fun. The Jarvan unable to find anything, and he's just so squishy. He can build as many Negatron quotes as he wants, but I just feel like he's going to pop so quickly.
Gotta say, the extended death animation everyone knows from Jarvan, hilarious when it's a support Jarvan.
Yep.
And it's not actually the most consequential thing. They're just standing on his grave now. It's a bit rude. Desecration!
Yeah,
Jin-hyeok.
exactly. I mean, maybe that's not his grave just yet. They just need to finish the battle before they deal with his body. Spirit, 10 seconds until he is going to be awake again. Grace, not going to be taken.
Remember, Grace did not use ult to make that pick happen, but Afreeca are all so slippery that it goes back to the ARAM rules we talked about, and nothing will happen.
Yeah, and look, Spirit, he's back here again. Now he's got himself a cloth armor, so that's not happening ever again.
A game where things to shout about are pretty creative. I think the biggest Poggers moment of this game was mid lane outer turret going down.
Yeah.
It was a struggle, you know? We lived through the war, watched it, in fact.
Indeed. Indeed.
And Adaptive Helm is there, and Lindarang can't be killed.
Yes. Nah, he built that item number 1, and it was from that point on that magic damage didn't bother him too much. Having said,
Stone Plate's there as well now.
Yes, so he's got even more of that magic resist. Righteous Glory not yet completed, which is often the second item. But Lindarang wanted to build for lane, and I completely understand that. 4 items are done for Keen, as he's got an 80 CS lead. 60 CS, sorry. And we got a GA as well as our Trinity Force. As far as late game power is concerned...
Let's talk about this. You can't 1-3-1 with Syndra. You can 1-3-1 with 6 item Jax.
Yeah.
The more items Jax gets, if they get Baron off the Rift, and Smite doesn't matter, Jax can actually be a side lane split pusher. We saw that in some of our 70-minute games on 8.1 last year, where the Jax just the world's slowest 4-item Jax build still eventually finished, and then you were Jax.
Yeah.
So that actually could be an option here. Level 16 on Dread. Can Dread, who's done literally nothing this game, actually be the reason that Afreeca Freecs win?
And maybe that's why he's been doing nothing, because he's been farming a heck of a lot, actually. And he benefits from attack speed so incredibly much. As maybe he benefits from diving into the middle of everyone on Jin-hyeok as well. Loses his GA for the moment, but now the fight is breaking out in earnest. Can they actually find anything from this? As Spirit's combo, not exactly the best, but aiming is able to grab the first kill in the fight, and Dread somehow survived. Unbreakable's there. Good stun comes down as the Braum soaking a lot, but also has to make his way out. Now Lindarang fighting 5 low members of the Afreeca Freecs is unable to get anything. Keen dives over the top, has a full bar of energy. Not actually throwing through the backflip just yet. Too many things in the way as now Lindarang gets over. Spirit tries to find the knock up and aiming. Is able to secure the kill in the end. Both solo lanes, the only resulting kills for the Afreeca Freecs, but is it enough to get them a Baron?
That was an epic monster fight where finally the crab got down. The signature's there. That's the signature of ambition. Hope you're enjoying your retirement, mate. Not sure if this game will dissuade you from it. We're gonna go back to the replay here, and what does Dread do but buy so much time? He goes in pretty relentlessly. You know, he goes in, no one else can back him up. But then, eventually, they have to deal with the Jax. He gets out. They have the other zone control we talked about the support Jarvan can create. And Jin-hyeok never actually kills someone. They get people low, but no one dies. And eventually, 5 is better than 4. And the power of friendship finally takes down the Urgot. But it takes a while.
Yep, and Ucal pressed R on route, and he couldn't actually participate in that fight. After the beginning, as Elder
Gonna get
Drake
this.
is going to get taken. All right, all too easy. The Afreeca Freecs lock that one down. That's what they're going to get in trade. Decide not to go for the Baron that had all the vision that Jin-hyeok had invested on it.
And
Instead,
now Afreeca don't need to worry about macro. We got Elder. Let's run at Baron. And what you going to do? We're going to win the fight or we're going to take the Baron. That is the thing that will force Jin-hyeok. This should be the big pivotal moment. How are the flank wards? One of them likely to be spotted. There are some options here for Lissandra, who's in base.
oh man, aiming, getting those procs of the burn damage.
They
Top
know
side of the map was where Keen was going.
No, there's a mid lane ward. They already have one hit onto it. We know there's no deep ward on the enemy blue buff. Afreeca, we're just waiting for them to start the Baron. That's the percentage play when you have the Elder. Otherwise, you're going to go back to the ARAM situation that's not doing much for you.
Amy's got 6 items as well, still stacking up towards the Seraph's Embrace that he decided to go for late. Means that this Ezreal is certainly something that needs to be paid a lot of respect. Keen dives forward, but you can see Grace actually holding back on going in on the E. No Claw of Doom this time, as the Afreeca Freecs still haven't started the Baron.
Let's see what they're waiting for. They don't have bot lane control. Frustrating that's moving up, but they have to do it eventually. They finally pull the trigger.
Oh my god!
I know they've got Mountain and Elder.
Yeah,
it dies instantly.
It's double Mountain Drake because the Elder Drake is
It's gonna be too
stacking
late.
that one up. And yes, that's a free Baron going over to the Afreeca Freecs. And now the
Yeah,
dive-in happens. Okay, looking to try and get it. Fear Beyond Death gets a couple of people snared up. And now Jin-hyeok are looking to win this battle because Lindarang is so damn massive. Ultimate has to be used from Ucal as somehow the Braum falls down, and aiming is the one to take control. True Shot Barrage not going to be worrying about any of these unbreakables this time, as it does land onto Grace, but not going to hit anybody else onto Jin-hyeok, and Afreeca Freecs hold on to their Barons and their Elder Drake.
We were baited there, Atlas, because Ezreal, Syndra, and Jax keep the buffs. They keep pushing forward. They're still so damn strong. Jackson and all-in, and Ezreal and Syndra with the burn on their poke. Back away. Elder Dragon will actually time out in 19 seconds. The timer there, just didn't like the previous game where people were not aware of double mountain speed, and that really undid Damwon Gaming in the final game. 1,000 gold bounty and a bit of a fear from the Urgot still doesn't matter, because eventually the Urgot is kited back, and then aiming says, I'm Ezreal with Baron and Elder Drake. Turns around and people die real fast.
Yeah, exactly. Ucal had thankfully auto-attacked in that last fight, so Nova died from that as the burn damage does come in. Fighting a team with Elder Drake is something you only do when you know you're going to be able to take that fight, but Keen made sure that they had no real option other than to do so because they were checking the Baron pit. Didn't mind the idea, and that is going to mean that first inhibitor is going to go down, first Baron and first Elder, all over to the Afreeca Freecs with their very unorthodox composition that is right now working out. 2-0 and 10 for Ucal, 4-0 and 6 for this Ezreal that's got all of the items in the universe.
See, at level 18, we return to our original analysis of liking Afreeca in the late game. Again, that we were a bit haphazard around. The reason why is at level 18, consider the overshield and QSS means that Ezreal will probably never be picked and killed. Jax actually can do a lot when he hits 6 items. We never thought that would happen, but he's going to get closer and closer. And that's the struggle, is that with level 18s turned on the side of Afreeca, with how long the game is dragged out, Jin-hyeok can't dive the backline. They can kill the front line, but everyone disengages amusingly, watches their ally die, and then re-engages with 6-item builds and can probably win an outnumbered territory. We zoom out, the ultra zoom that makes everything a bit quieter on the Rift. That's what happens with the spectator overlay. But with the Baron for another 50 seconds, one more minion wave after this. Can they break the base in the top side?
I really liked aiming. Look at his positioning. It's so far forward, knowing that he can threaten so well. Baron still for another 40 seconds, and they're breaking the base, like you say, in a second position. Inhibitor goes down. Now bottom lane, I believe that inner turret is also just taking minion damage as we speak. And the Afreeca Freecs with the run of the map. Jin-hyeok with no answers as to how to make this one work. And all of a sudden, Papa, we're sitting at a 6,000 gold lead when things were basically at parity earlier on in this series.
They are at risk here of losing to the AP support Jarvan. Of course, it was Zonia's for the most stasis into Stoneplate for just milling around and getting a couple of flags off in a team fight, but Jin-hyeok just never really punished. They never went to the Jarvan lane early, so couldn't just take the turret and make Jarvan try to counter roam against people, where if you EQ at the wrong time, you just hand over another kill. The ARAM that went forever in the mid-game has finally led to Jax with multiple items. The Ezreal with 1,000 gold bounty. One of them cashed in on the Urgot, but Urgot basically full build. After that, and now can Jin-Air win a fight? What does a one-team fight for Jin-Air look like? They went 2 for 0 at the start and still ended up losing.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, is it even a team fight that Afreeca are looking for? Because if Jin-Air actually group up and look for a fight like that, their base could just be torn apart by a split-pushing Keen on this Akali, who's got 6 items as well, Papa, may I remind you. 5, 1, and 5 on this Akali, and he is an absolute force to be reckoned with Void Staff and the Rabbidan's Death Cap.
Only adjustment here in build I'd like to see from aiming is to sell the Blade of the Ruin King, get Gunblade. Gunblade synergizes better with the Sorcerer's Shoes build that people go for, and the Blade of the Ruin King was finished before 2nd tier in order to have some power.
It was a great 3-item bridge for the Ezreal.
Doesn't have to worry about bridges. He's got free access to all of them now with all the gold he has.
Precisely. Now Jin-Air, they have set their waves up quite nicely on the top side of the map, so not going to have to worry. And they've decided that this is their opportunity to move into the mid lane, but Grace is tagged.
So hard,
this is a real problem.
It's terrible. Elder's back on the map.
Diving on forward. And as Grace takes poke, it's actually very, very important for the Afreeca Freecs because they know they have better opportunities of winning a fight if that claw does come out. Now that that's off cooldown, you can see much more readily moving forward.
So outranged by Ezreal. His Spirit.
Yeah, knock-up comes down. Malrang trying to turn it onto Spirit. They're buying time on the outside. Keen goes into his stasis and is able to escape. Ucal still very, very healthy as now they're in the Thunderdome. The Cataclysm comes in and now the fire is broken out. Root diving forward. Had the Essence Reaver, but is going to get taken out by Ucal, who was healthy on the backline. Teleport to get Keen back into this fight. Dive forward. Counter-strike gets the stun onto Nova, but he gets out in the end. There's the flash forward from Spirit. Wants to just give himself away to continue the battle. Not sure whether that was the greatest idea as Dread. Now on the back end, Keen trying to get the work done. Q comes down. Nova very close to going as well as Keen gets his health back. And somehow, again, the Afreeca Freecs have done it. That he just landed. The backflip's going to come back in. Nope, not going to happen. As Grace comes back up, but man, oh, that fight was so incredibly close. I think Jin-Air managed to win.
It was so extended, Atlas, that the fact that the game doesn't end, that they get the res on their mid lane inhibitor, actually does mean a lot in this game. Crazy, crazy stuff here. So many of the picks are different that we had to see it to believe it. We watched the replay. Malrang actually just zones out aiming from damage. Remember, he's hitting a target he does no damage to. And then Root decides, I'm going to kill the, we thought, unkillable Ezreal. Gets into the backline and does it on this Lucian. That's such a big play there, as his involvement in a fight seemed to be nil compared to what seemed like the world's safest Ezreal. But we still go on forever because Keen teleports back in. Lindarang needs a lot of time to come out. Even just the W there to stop Keen getting the kill on Grace was important as it buys time for what ends up being another epic fight between the Urgot and the members of Afreeca.
And look at how close Keen goes to going down. Shroud then comes back up, and look at all the health from the Qs.
And Malrang gets his ult again. Oh, that's the crazy part. He gets the ult again.
Yeah.
Keen played this fight really, really well, but the ult coming back again meant no way the Braum was going to get out, and the game extends. We might hit 50 minutes before long.
Well, I mean, it's 2 minutes away, so I agree with you, Papa. I think that we are going to get there. 30 seconds until the inhibitor comes back off.
That's a lot of damage.
Yeah. Essence Reaver now online as they pick off the Syndra. Dread now, Counter-Strike is on cooldown, and they've decided that they are just getting the heck out of here on the side of the Afreeca Freecs. Spirit, Sacrificial Lamb just turned into a Frozen Thrall, and now the Elder Drake is Jin-Air's if they want it. The Baron is also going over to them.
Thought they got the Akali. It was the Syndra. She's down, though. It's still a threat. There's Ezreal, Jax, and Akali. A very powerful brawling trio. But the Elder is started. Can Dread steal this one away? TP just to stop the minions ending the game.
Well, both of the inhibitors have spawned, so they're not going to be taking down that Nexus turret. Yeah, you're exactly right, 4v3. But now with an Elder Drake feels like an even worse situation for the Afreeca Freecs, and they do disengage. Moving on over to the Baron is Dread, but Afreeca Freecs, I just don't know what they're going to be able to do here. Keen in the mid lane. Ucal close to coming back up. Spirit a bit further.
Jin-Air can make this around Baron because Afreeca will take time. Keen's going to push through mid lane. He wants to take the mid lane inhibitor and respond, but the Baron will die pretty fast.
It will. Dread's doing his very best to try and keep himself in a position where he can threaten to steal this Baron away. Not going to happen. Oh! What the hell? He stole the Baron with his ultimate and gets himself a blue buff in the meantime. What the heck was that?
That's exactly what they needed. Now the back time is going to be interrupted.
Oh, and he's going to be able to take down Nova because they timed the back so nicely with Dread jumping in with a counter-strike. Aiming just comes back on the Afreeca Freecs after a week off and saves this game.
How else could game one of Afreeca versus Jin-hyeok end but ostensibly a Baron steal being the reason? That's the full power Baron post 40. We watch what is going to be a replay of a long time ago. This is all about Root opening up, and hell does you do some damage. And then I thought Akali goes down. It's Syndra. She dies instantly. The second pick is going to be the Jarvan. He's got nowhere to go. We're going to have to fast forward it, though. As remember, this is Ezreal, who, yes, does a lot of damage to champions, but doesn't do a lot of damage to Barons. Let's watch the timer and understand this one. When is Smite used? It's used at 1600. That's not the time to Smite. And Ezreal, with 300 damage to be done, gets the Baron and probably gets his team a victory.
Yeah, they're going to launch themselves forward here. And, of course, Keen, he was in the mid lane. He took down an inhibitor, already. They'll grab the two that they prepared earlier. There's already a Nexus turret down. Jin-hyeok Green Wings scratching their heads after that. I felt like that was their opportunity to get back into the game. The Afreeca Freecs deny it with a true shot barrage from downtown.
Now let's define terms for 2019. People saw Damwon in the last series, game number 3 of that series. In that particular match, Damwon versus Sandbox, and called it a fiesta. I will say that's 2019 League of Legends played as it should.
Yeah.
This is a fiesta.
Damn
with
right
Jarvan support, with no side lane priority, with no ability to play side lanes because the Urgot matched the Akali. It's been an ARAM for the majority. This is the sort of fiesta we don't like to see in the LCK, but it is 9th versus 10th. Both these teams pretty low on confidence. Spirit playing support means we get a game that at 51 minutes, it still could be a Jin-hyeok victory. It still could be a Glad playing today.
It could. And Aiming has a Rabbidan's death cap. You know how he said he should sell that Blade of the Ruined King and get a Gunblade? He said no. He wants a death cap.
Think about how much damage is being repelled by the door. If Braum gets the E on the Ezreal ultimate,
he wants to break the unbreakable. That's what he wants to do. That's his aim.
It's in the name. I know breakable's in there, but the un overrides it.
Oh. Life's hard.
There's no Ornn ultimates for me to, Ornn items for me to shout about, but I think this game won't go 94, and yet I'm still not sure.
I mean, it might go 54, and that's definitely one of the longest games. I mean, longest average game time is held by KT at 35 minutes.
You know, I believe in Jin-hyeok to win that one. Jin-hyeok will be #1 in game.
Jin-hyeok's bringing it back. They were losing a little bit too quickly before, but now they've figured it out.
Unfortunately, they're going to lose this inhibitor if they don't start fighting soon.
Well, they're not actually going to start fighting just yet. The inhibitor is going to go down. Claw comes in, but Grace doesn't take it. Gauge options dwindling. Super creeps are now going to be coming 2 by 2 by 2.
You got to fight over something. It has to be this last turret, Jin-hyeok.
It has to be the Nexus. I mean, if you don't fight over the Nexus,
Let's
you just
go.
lose the game as Lindarang dives forward, but doesn't get anything. Not even a Banshee's Veil. As Malrang, he's the one that's picked up the mantle of engage, but now the dive forward as Root in the backline having to deal with Keen, who flashes to get his way out. Aiming, jumps on over. Look at that burst damage as Keen finishes off the kill. In the front line, though, Dread is going to get taken down to that GA as now the conga line of minions is going to fly in, and Dread somehow again miraculously surviving. Ucal, the only one to go. The trade for mid laners has come in as Aiming just needs to hit this Nexus a couple of times and it is going to be dead.
Lindarang?
Yeah, Shroud down for Keen as well, trying to get damage back. Dread still alive as Spirit jumps in. Cataclysm is used, he gets out of it as Aiming going down extraordinarily low as Malrang is trying to save this one for Jin-hyeok. The minions are just diving on top of this Nexus and Afreeca are going home.
Why are they backing away?
I don't know.
I guess they don't have a lot of range damage. It's hard, but it definitely looks like it's going to extend that timer. There's the 54 Atlas. Yep. We're playing more.
All right. Okay. That's like you're in a marathon. They got to like just before the finish line and then just like walked home and had a beer or something.
So you've watched Bandersnatch, right? The Netflix movie. It feels like we got the bad end.
We actually just we had a
got a
reference
bad
to this
end
on Sunday. And yeah, I agree. I feel like this is my Bandersnatch experience of the 3 hours of watching that movie.
So to be honest, if I got this ending when I was reading a Goosebumps book,
oh god,
I would have kept my finger in the original page. I'd go back, you know?
Yeah.
I'd chrono break it till about pick and bang.
You'd be one of those guys with the post-it notes hanging out of your Goosebumps book, ready to go back to, and this is where I made this choice, and I don't want to do that again. And you've got all of the notes figuring out how the whole thing works.
Does anyone read Choose Your Own Adventure books in 2019? Is it actually only Bandersnatch?
No, I think we just watch them now.
Huh,
I don't know. Maybe
go.
that's the 2019 meta.
So, wait, who took the last Elder? It was Jin-hyeok. So it's not a double stack Elder. I think it has to be consecutive.
I don't think so. I think it's just the second one that you've taken.
Well, no,
in the game.
if it's a 5-minute buff.
Well, Elder is now circulating around this squad.
It's actually, yeah. I believe it is 2 in a row.
Right. Well,
cool.
Now with an Elder Drake, theoretically, Afreeca Freecs can win the game.
There's so many minions.
So many super
They have
minions
one
as well.
inhibitor backup. This Baron is going to be free.
20 seconds.
Wait,
until the
is there
next
any AoE
inhibitor.
abilities? Any? No, no one can steal this. Unless Lucian culls it.
Aiming found the target that they should have gone for at the end of the last engage. He hit the Nexus with his true
I really
shot.
want Lucian to cull this, but it will not happen.
God, that is so much damage.
Afreeca have 4-stack Elder and Baron of full power. And they just need to run at the base. So, pretty sure Ezreal kills it by accident.
Hey, does killing an Elder Drake add to your next stack of Drakes for the Elder Drake?
No. Does Ezreal W work on the Nexus? I want to say no.
I think it does.
If it
That's on
does,
inhibitors, doesn't it? Pretty sure it does.
that would be actually very relevant because he's not going to get too many auto attacks.
Yeah.
As the Ezreal. The what ifs you ask in the support Jarvan game. Well, 56 minutes. Let's hit an hour, guys. Come on. That's another stat required.
Honestly, and I mean, the minion waves have been dealt with. They've still got a couple of inhibitors to take down.
All right.
To the Afreeca Freecs.
I'm thinking about it more. It definitely works on inhibitors, so it definitely should work on the Nexus.
Yeah.
You really... How much damage do you reckon it does? Probably a lot.
Yeah. I'd say so. He's got a really cool hat.
All right, we're bringing in multiple minion waves. Finally, the word macro could be applied to this game. It need not apply for 56 minutes.
Yep. Spirit's actually upset because he was the wizard of the bottom lane, and yet his hat's being worn by the little guy that gets all of the props.
Do you reckon he went sorcery? We know he went sorcery. Do you reckon he went Gathering Storm?
No, he didn't. He went Scorch. I think. We did see it. I'm pretty sure.
Whoa! I saw the W auto. That was most of an inhibitor.
Yep.
Jin-hyeok, I don't know how you're going to do this. Show me the way. Show me this game going 60.
That scat of the week was disgusting from Ucal. As Lindarang, he's going for it. Righteous Glory comes in. The exhaust is down. Just wants to kill his lane opponent.
Can they
to
get the
prove
Urgot
a point as in goes Spirit.
Dread's
Gets
into
a
the game.
decent amount as yet Dread's decided that he's got his passive from his ult. Keen wants to join him. The Nexus will go down. Spirit, the only one to die in the last team fight, but Afreeca walk away after an hour with the victory in game.